Hey, folks, this is Coach Roger coming to you live, and I appreciate all of you. You're going to ring the victory bell for being here and being so amazing. And you know who else is so amazing? My next guest. Let me tell you all about her. Simone Moir. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. She's an international best-selling author and speaker known for her intuitive approach to spiritual growth. Drawing from a rich background in yoga therapy, Ayurvedics, and trauma therapy, she integrates holistic practices that empower individuals and communities. Simone has supported diverse groups, including foster services, military personnel, and therapists, fostering transformation and resilience. She specializes in guiding women through transitional phases, particularly in menopause, and she masterfully blends ancient wisdom with modern techniques. Her work helps women worldwide envision and create impactful change for a flow of inner strength, rooted in their connection to a higher source. So, without any further delay, let's welcome the one, the only, super talented, super beautiful, super talented. Yes, I said talented twice. The one and only Simone Moir. Welcome, Simone. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, thank you.
So that'll wake people up. So everybody else who's is here on the live right now, when you're live, you thrive, and if you're watching on the replay, you get to play again. You're gonna ring the victory bell. You get that dopamine boost that you love so much by being here and being on the live. So Simone, let's just dive right in and ask the questions here. So you have an amazing story, and by the way, also I just want to say to you also about 5 hours ago, I had another guest scheduled. So for like various reasons, had to drop. So I asked in a networking group, hey, who would like to be our next guest? I had 5 people answer, but she was the first one. So Simone gets the doorbell prize for being on the show today. So Simone, tell me a little bit about you know what is your company, your brand? What is it? What is it that you do?
Oh, what is it that I do? I align, as you just saw so beautiful in our networking event. I just feel where things feel right, and I
Right.
help people to feel in their power, in their flow, and
Mm,
stop resisting themselves. And they don't need to be perfect in any way. We're all made perfectly imperfect. But it's that resistance and that trying to be something we're not, or trying to fit on, or fit things on that are not ours, or fit in to things
right.
like this unboxing here is very funny, because I unbox people.
That's
They
right.
put
I love it.
themselves into a
Yeah.
box and I unbox them as a coach. Um, yeah. Like it's really funny to call myself a coach because I did it since 1998 and there
Hmm.
wasn't such a thing as a coach without a ball and a
I
football
know. I know
or,
what you
or
mean. Yeah.
a team.
So now, how do you offer help to your clients?
Mhm. Again, it's one of those words a bit like coach, right?
Yeah.
It's empowerment and it's like so overused and it's just so funny, right? So how do you find your own power? So I
Hmm.
think for me, there's a great spiritual note to it. And
Hmm.
there's also who you surround yourself with.
Right.
So there's like your inner circle, which will trigger you into behavior that is not necessarily like feeling great to you because
Hmm.
they are meant to push your buttons. And if we can kind of like stay in our center, grounded into the earth and
Right.
inspired by wonderful values or whatever we get inspired by. To me, it's my higher self or God. You can name it whatever you want. It
Oh,
life just gets easier and it aligns more like this speaking gig has aligned. And my
yeah.
clients find that as well, that things just and they don't necessarily go all your way, but you
Oh
can
no.
move through it with much more grace and humor. With
Right.
humor. Yeah.
Understand. Now, so who is your perfect target audience that you're trying to connect with? How can we help you connect with them?
Yeah. So I tend to connect to women 40s and 50s that are kind of
Yeah.
like in transition with hormones. Quite often they have teenagers. So I work with them then
No
as well, or the
teenagers.
whole family, because it's the family affair of the mother. If the mother or the woman is hormonal, everyone notices. So it's kind of like finding that support and finding yourself through it, which lowers the symptoms and yeah, it just makes for a better family life.
Gotcha. I love that. So now, um, how did you begin in this process? So let's go back in time a little bit. Like, where did you grow up and how did you grow up? So we can
Mhm.
kind of figure out where's the origin story of you.
Yeah, so I'm German by birth, um, and I grew up in a winery and small holding kind of like farm,
Mm-hmm.
um, with lots of adults around. And so I have a very mm, spiritually gifted grandmother.
Mm.
Um, and she was kind of like the center of the village.
Yeah.
The people would come and ask her for advice,
Yeah.
and it's a long lineage of having these people that people come to get advice for. Like we have them till the 1600s, and apparently I'm one of those because they now come for me for advice. But I was raised already with that job in a way because I'm very sensitive and
Yeah.
I'm very empathetic, and that
Gotcha.
out to my grandmother. And I think when you're an extreme empath and you don't have that environment that supports you, you might actually think you're going mad,
Oh, I know
right?
what you mean because you're so intuitive and you connect with people so well. And I understand that because I was like that too at
Yeah.
my work. It's like I was always the connector. I'm the one that kind of brought people together all the time. So whatever team or whatever manager that I would work with, all of a sudden the team would work a lot more smoothly. They wouldn't attribute that to my skill set as a great connector
Yeah.
because in big pharma they wouldn't understand. There's no KPI for that. Like, how do we measure that? And for them, so they wouldn't understand what it was that I'd be doing at such a high level for them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so so I get what you mean, especially being an empath
So
like that. It's hard
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
well, can you give an example of a success story that you've had with your client?
Well, I've been doing it for so long. I've got a love letter once from one of the husbands of my women who I've worked with my Real Inside program. And it
Yeah.
was just so wonderful. What he said was like, I do not recognize my wife
Yeah.
after that she's worked with you for 1 month. But I can assure you, both my wife and I really, really love the woman. She's less pleasing, but we both want to grow old with her.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I
It's,
love hearing that. So you got to ring the victory bell for creating some impact and some, happiness in people's lives. And that's something that we sorely need everywhere around the world, don't we? So
yeah.
right now, if you're watching on the live, please give us some thumbs up, some likes, give us some comments so that we know that you're there and you're thriving with us. If you're on the replay, still comment anyway, because we want to know what did you take away from that. So let's let's share right now. I know you have a gift that you want to share with the audience here. So please,
Mhm.
here's the gift link banner down below. Please tell everybody what they're going to get when they
Yeah.
click on here.
So it's a little bit outside of the box. I just thought I push the boat out a bit. Like there's lots of there's different things on my social media that you can download, quizzes and things like that. But this is
Hmm.
really special. I would like to share this with you. So it's a bit curious
Yep.
because I am not a Muslim and I wrote
Hmm.
a book for women about Ramadan. And that is
Mm.
kind of like one of those big things that I kind of like incarnated for, if you want to.
Yeah.
I like to, in my heart, I know we're all one. I knew that before I studied yoga therapy in India, and gurus
Hmm.
told me. Um, I know it, but there's some facets of society that I know less of. and therefore
Oh yeah.
maybe have an inherited fear or prejudice. And I just didn't. I grew up in 8 of the 10 most Islamophobic countries, and
Mm,
my best friend growing up was from Lebanon. So
okay.
it's just kind of like I didn't really understand how anyone could see her as different. She's just another human being. But then through her story, having to marry her once removed uncle and things like that, I just went
Yeah.
like, what craziness is that? So she didn't marry her twice removed uncle because I was her friend. So I stood
Right.
up for her.
Oh,
I
thank
read the
God.
whole Quran when I was 16 or something like that, and debated with the dad and plead and just said, like, now that you're in Germany, this is not gonna happen.
This is
And
not
it's
gonna
just,
happen.
and
Oh,
that
I
was
love
like,
it. Oh, that's so good. So you
yeah, and
stood
that's
up
like
for your
a
friend.
childhood memory about it.
Beautiful.
And then
Beautiful. I love
having
that.
studied in India,
Hmm.
yoga therapy, I noticed a lot of prejudice. It was
Oh yeah.
all around me.
Yeah.
And I
And it's
kind of
funny.
like
What's
thought,
interesting is people think prejudice is only from the majority to the minority, but it's actually minorities between each other. It's almost worse prejudice, and it really is because they have some very stout opinions about that, and you're not going to change them for a while. It
I
takes
know.
the next generation to actually start creating a change
Hmm.
and a shift.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
like I remember, like I had in grad school, my roommate was from Pakistan, and he was a Muslim. He was from Lahore, and such a cool guy, and we got along perfectly fine. And I remember until that point, I said, I don't know. I've always heard things about people that were Muslim, but I
Yeah.
never lived with one or worked with one for so closely. But after we roomed together for 2 years, I people are people. I realize this now. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was just my own blind spot. And so now we can share that light with people. It's like, hey, listen, we all got some blind spots. It's
Mhm.
okay. But we can
Yeah.
all learn from each other and just shine a light.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I sat with 40 plus Muslim women,
Yep.
and we
Mhm.
just talked about Ramadan, which I knew very little about, to be honest.
All right.
And then we went like, oh, that's really interesting. Because like from my Ayurvedic background or from my naturopath background,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, I wonder if this might help with, and there's like really quirky and like the website that is there, there's lots of really good information for nothing. You can obviously
Yep.
buy the book and it sends you to Amazon, or if you're not on Amazon, because a lot of the Muslim countries don't have Amazon.
Oh,
So
they
I've put a
don't.
link
Okay.
on there. Yeah,
That's why
to
I keep my
download
own
the
link for
book.
my book. Yeah, just in
Oh,
case, so we can send it out. All
I
right,
know.
folks, make sure you grab her site link down below. Make sure you help support her and also like the great work that she's doing. We're gonna move on to the softer side of Sears and really get to know her as a person. Um, so Simone, just I want to get to know you a little better here. So now, as you've been, you know, as you grow up, you know, how did you grow up? You said you grew up in a farm in Germany, and is there any events that sort of shaped the way you think? Like, was there any movie or book that really kind of guided the way you think or inspired you growing up?
So that book was my granny, really. So
Oh yeah.
I lived with a guru in a way. She taught me so many good things, and a lot of the good things that she taught me are in the book. For
Hmm.
example, that she always said, like, if you would have been born in the Middle East, you would be a Muslim. It's just like how it's completely logical, right?
Hmm.
Like, because I was born in the village where there's one church, which happens to be Roman Catholic, I
Yeah.
happen to be baptized, I happen to do all that stuff. And it's really just because it was the only option.
It was just location based. That's what was convenient. That was around, so that's where people went to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no one
and
travels to
histor
the village
yeah,
where I
and
come
historically,
from.
churches have
So,
been places where people would congregate. You would meet the community
mhm.
through that place too. So it
Yeah.
wasn't just about living a
Yeah.
spiritual life. It was also about your business, and the school teachers would see the children there, and then you'd see the other people that you were working with, your coworkers. So it's amazing how your location of where you are just may have a big influence on what religion you're going to be
Yeah.
pursuing because of the convenience of it. Now later on in life, you start choosing
Yes.
what it
Yeah.
is you want to believe and what value system works for you, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, uh, uh, God is kind of like ice cream. Everybody has a different flavor. Doesn't make anybody wrong. Everybody's got their own favorite,
Mhm,
and that's okay.
mhm. And
Um,
if we can focus on what we all believe in, the overlap, it makes it so easy and so
oh, it certainly
powerful.
does. Yeah,
So powerful.
yeah. So what about uh, what's your favorite kind of music? I always like to be interested in
Mhm.
what kind of like inspires you, jams you up, makes you happy.
It's really funny because I teach yoga and everyone goes like, "Oh, do you need the subwoofer or something for spiritual music?" It's like
Uh-huh.
my favorite music is the sound of my breath.
Oh, really?
So it's really there's nothing sweeter, especially when you were once kind of like unwell and
Yeah.
you really focused on your breath because you knew as long as you're breathing, you're not dead. So it's kind of like
Hmm.
so my breath has become the most amazing sound there is.
From that perspective, like your breath is your like validation of life, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Indeed.
yeah.
Oh, I love the way you say that. That's so cool. Your breath is your validation of life. You should use that. There you go.
Mm.
So we got that here now. What about what's a fun fact about you that maybe people don't know?
Well, it's a really fun fact,
Okay.
which some people like I can do a lie detector with my children, right? So my children don't lie to me. They've learned it, and I just put my head over there, my hand over their head, and I go beep 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 when I think they lie. But and it's always right because I can see your energy field. I was
Oh, you can
born
tell.
seeing your energy field. So if I do a statement and I put you on the spotlight, your energy
Yeah.
shrinks when you lie, and your energy
My
expands when you don't lie. So I don't need my hand over your head for
My
it.
parents
And
used to do something similar. They would say like, "Look in my eyes," or "I can see the TV in your eyes, and it tells me if you're lying or not." And if you were lying, and when you're 6 years old, you say, "No, I don't want to see you." Don't They
yeah,
could tell right away when you look away.
yeah, yeah. And they try. They're really sweet. They really try to kind of like, but it's just a really unfair thing. And my 10-year-old
Yeah,
year old is like, Mom, why can't you just be normal? you know?
that's okay. That's all right. Now, speaking of books, you said your grandmother was your book, but was there an actual book that you read that helped you to transform your mind?
Well, my bedtime story throughout my entire childhood was the Bible. Was
Okay,
the only book that was read to me forwards, backwards, sideways, and
gotcha.
discussed. And I think what I really took away from that was
Uh huh.
like, I'm so happy for my parents to be the kind of parents that sit around the table. When
Yeah,
there's a problem, you don't get sent into your room. You're going to take it to the table with the whole family around, and you don't get
yeah.
shamed. Because
Oh, and
it's
you talked
kind
about
of
it.
like my dad always said, if you haven't made a mistake this week, you've not lived. So
Mm, I
so
like
it's
that.
kind of like and we were kind of like proud to bring mistakes to the table because that meant that we could save the others from making the same mistake. We were
Yeah.
praised on bringing our mistakes to the table, and I think that's very much how I coach. How I coach relationships is to
Hmm.
lean in and speak, lean in and feel. There is no such thing as a mistake.
That's right. So within my clients, I talk about there's no failure. You either learn something or you win something. That's all it
Yeah,
is. You either
yeah.
win or you learn, but you don't fail,
You
right?
don't feel.
All right.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Mm.
Now, what is your favorite food?
Oh, so I like Ayurvedic food, like Vedic cuisine, like the
Oh,
5
good.
tastes, the yoga retreat cuisine. And when my beloved moved in with me, the first few weeks he just said, "Oh, this is really nice," and everything. And then he's like, "Do you always eat like on a yoga retreat?"
Yeah. And the food. So that means like what? Like Indian food mostly?
Indian
It
food, yes,
okay.
yes, but
So
not very
here's what I'm
spicy.
gonna do. Okay.
Mm.
Hello, like New Delhi restaurant. Yeah, like we need a palette of like one of each dish for the green room. Thanks. All right, so that's my totally real phone call to the restaurant. They're bringing you the food in the green room. And now Most of my guests are pretty hungry, but try to save me some food, okay?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So what's so before we switch gears again, tell me what's one thing that you want the audience to recall about you?
Go and meet what rubs you the wrong way. Go and ask questions. Go from
Oh,
curiosity into it, because what you get out of it is priceless. So what you try to avoid is exactly what you need.
yep, yep. I love it. I love it. So go and meet what rubs you the wrong way. Oh, what a beautiful phrase. All right. So go enjoy that food. We're going to see you back after our next segment. And for those that are watching right now, make sure we're going to do our Q&A right after this. So right now we have our sponsor segment over here. Make sure we help support the people that are helping to bring us support. The one is Talkadat. If you have if you don't have a CRM yet and you're a speaker, a coach, an author, and you are doing any kind of a presentation, Talkadat helps you to put a QR code in the corner of your screen and get feedback and connects with the audience in a way so that you can give them a deliverable. You can help them to grow. You can help them to get to the next space on your in your funnel. So make sure you grab that link right there. And also, my book came out 2 months ago. Guess what? It is now on the Barnes and Noble best-selling list, and it is also on, can you believe it, the international best-selling list on Amazon in multiple countries. So I would like for all of you to have that opportunity to grab that. All right. So, and while we're doing that also, if you don't have a speaker reel yet, please connect with us. Our company, what we can do for you is to make a speaker reel that entices people, that shows people that you're a professional. And here's an example of what we can do for you. When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end. All right, folks. So I would love for all of you to connect with me here and think about right now. Someone was talking about how people have to do the thing that makes them most uncomfortable. Now, I say that a different way with my clients. When I'm coaching, I say, listen, you have to break out of your box of fear. Because on the other side of the box of fear is the uncomfortable zone. Because then on the other side of that, that's your growth zone. So you don't grow until you get comfortable becoming uncomfortable. Now, think about your programming as a child. You're growing up. Your parents tell you, well, oh no, we can't afford that car. We can't afford that house. We don't have a lot of money. Oh no, those are for the rich kids. You can't have that bicycle. No, you can't. You can't order lunch from school. You have to take it from home. All of a sudden, that is shaping your mindset and creating a poor mindset, right? What about as you get older? If you're playing sports and you're told, you know what, you're just not that good, so just stay to the sidelines. Well, somebody had to tell you that, and you started creating that box of fear that you tend to stay in now. But someone else has to believe in you to help you break out of that box of fear. So my one bit of advice that I would give you here in our 60-second mind shift today is get comfortable becoming uncomfortable. Because only when you become uncomfortable, on the other side of that uncomfortableness, that's when you find your greatest successes. So we have a link down below also for our Speaker Confidence Workshop. Grab that for those that want, and it is a way to transform your life. So let's bring back Simone, who is, I'll bet she's probably still eating. Let's see if she's done yet. Okay, Simone, welcome back. Oh my God, how was all the food, my dear?
Oh, it was delicious. Just all the flavors, just perfect.
And did you save me anything?
No.
No, a little bit. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. You look hungry anyway. All right. So quick question for you. What did you take away from that 60-second mind shift, and what would you add to it?
Yeah, the unboxing. But and what you said is you need to feel like there's someone there that has you, and that someone can be something higher that you
Yeah.
can have with you all the time, where a coaching
Mhm.
session might last 90 minutes or 60 minutes, when you can connect to something like a higher power that's always with you
Right.
24/7. And you can also really root down into the earth that nourishes you no matter what. It's so much easier to unbox, but you need that stability either in a coach, a friend,
Mhm.
or in spirit, the purest way you can go.
I love it. I love it. You got to ring the victory bell. We are at the last question of our show today, and which I always love to ask people. If someone gave you a blank check, what will be your grand vision to change the world?
Yeah. It's that empowerment piece. I would build
Yeah.
schools. That's very much like spaces of education, which is
Hmm.
which is not teaching onto you, but teaching from inside of you, where you can really connect. And it's like I wrote a book on suicide prevention as well, and it's so
Oh,
simple to lower the risk. It takes two things you need to navigate even through trauma much better. Do I have time to tell you these two things? They're very
well,
quick.
these are two very important things. So yes, go ahead. Go
Very,
ahead. Let's
very
take the extra
important.
2 minutes, and
You need
we'll
to
please
have
explain.
one person that you feel deeply connected with,
Yeah.
and that can
Mhm.
be God
Yep.
or a person. One, not a whole village, one.
Right.
But it needs to be
Yep.
that real connectedness. And you need one person where you can be authentically you with, so you can see you and get to know you. You can try different things on for size and just go, oh, that feels like home. That
Yeah.
doesn't feel like makeup on or just put on. That actually resonates.
I
And
love
that
it.
is so important. And just by having these two things, you
Yep.
lower your risk of substance misuse, being really tortured by trauma, and you can get into the growth zone so easily.
So now we I get I created my world composition piano piece 2 years ago called "You Are Enough," and all the proceeds to that goes towards suicide prevention and towards like a mental health awareness.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do some sort of a collaboration on that in the future with
I
your
would
little
love that. I would
that.
love it.
We'll find a way to cross
Yeah.
collab on. So, folks, thank you so much. Simone has been an amazing guest. You guys are ringing the victory bell for being here and being so amazing. And for everybody else that's been on the live, when you're live, you thrive. When you're on the replay, you get to play again. This is Coach Roger. And as always, don't fake it till you make it, believe it, and become it. And we'll see you on the next show. Bye bye, folks. All right, all right. Three quick questions for you, and then we are out of here. So, what was your favorite part of being on the show today?
Well, that it aligns so beautifully in the first place. And it's really lovely that we're aligning into the future, even with the
Absolutely.
suicide prevention. It's just like, it's just door open, door open. That's my favorite bit.
Yeah, when you open to the like a universe, just things happen for you, doesn't it? You know,
Yes.
somebody says like, "Wow, Roger, you're such an overnight success." That's great. It took me 6 years to be an overnight success, right? But it's that hard work, that like dark work you do behind the doors,
Yeah.
that that lifts everything else up. What about what was your biggest takeaway from the show today?
It's how easy you navigate technology and how perfect you make this look. So, like on the spot, smooth. And that again, that doesn't come from one show, that comes from 366 shows. I'm just really proud of you and I'm inspired.
Oh, thank you so much. And don't forget, this was only after a little bit over 2 years, and we're up to episode 366, and we're going to hit 400 by the end of the year. So, last question for you: would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
I have already, and I will further.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic! All right, thank you so much, Simone. You've been fantastic. We are out of here.